Hello there, people of the internet. Why do people ask me about my opinion on new things? Like, I've got a whole strain of messages on like Instagram and Facebook and whatnot, and like a couple of times in the comments section where I got some people who ask me about new stuff that's coming out by certain companies. And there's a giant ant on my camera now, but I get these people that ask me about this new stuff that's coming out. And they'll ask me for my opinion on it or my take on it, and they'll contact me and be like, hey, you know, there's this new Glock that's basically the same as all the other Glocks, just, you know, in a slightly different size or a different format or a different caliber. What do you think about that? Or they'll contact me and be like, hey, Bagheera or however that company name is pronounced, they'll be like, hey, Bagheera just came out with this cutting edge new rifle that is like basically just based off of the Mauser bolt action and is very similar to all the stuff that I've seen before. Or they'll ask me, hey, you know, the new 7 PRC that just came out, it's absolutely fantastic. What are your thoughts on it? And I'm like, not only do I not have any thoughts on it because I have absolutely zero experience with it, but I don't know the history behind it. I don't know what was done to develop that cartridge. I don't know what it's based off of. I don't know what the parent cases are. I don't know. I mean, from what I've been able to gather, it exists because it is very capable at doing things at long ranges. Like, it's a very capable long-range cartridge from what I've been able to gather. It holds its velocities well. It has decent mass. From what I've been able to gather, it's very good at long ranges. But besides that, I don't really know anything else besides the cartridge. I know that it's not fired from any military surplus rifles, and as a military surplus, you know, gun nut, that's kind of my forte. That's what I focus on. So whenever people ask me, hey, what do you think about Bagheera's new bolt-action rifle that's another polymer stock rifle that's based off the Mauser action, and I'm sure it's super smooth and super slick and whatnot. Or they ask me, hey, what do you think about the 7 PRC and, you know, how great the ballistics are? And I'm like, well, let's take a look at that and compare it to something like 6.5 Swede, and we'll compare those ballistics. And normally, yeah, modern stuff is a little bit better than the things that came out 100 and something years ago, but it's not better to the point to where I would start freaking out about it myself. It's not like I would give up my military surplus life to go after these modern things because these modern things just do things so much better. Not only that, but I'm blind and I got a 100-yard range. I mean, 9mm, I can make shots with 9mm at 100 yards. I don't need a 7 PRC to make shots at 100 yards with a 9mm. Not only that, but the types of guns that shoot these things just aren't the types of rifles that I'm into. Like 6.5 Creedmoor. I don't have a 6.5 Creedmoor because I don't really care for the cartridge or the rifles that it shoots. Now, don't get me wrong, 6.5 Creedmoor, I definitely see the benefits in it. Personally, I think the 6 Creedmoor is a little bit on the better side ballistically speaking. But the 6.5 Creedmoor, I definitely see the benefits in the cartridge, but it just is not the type of cartridge or the types of rifles that I shoot. Like, if you can get me a Mauser chambered in 6.5 Creedmoor, they're going to be like, alright, that's interesting, I'll take that. But I mean, like, nowadays, like, for example, you know, $300 Savage Axis. Hey, you want a Savage Axis for $300? It's a modern rifle, mount a scope on it, go out, a very capable rifle. You could probably squeeze out 1 MOA groups if you use good ammunition. Like, it's a phenomenal rifle. Or a Thompson Compass system. I don't even know the name of the rifle. Or Mossberg Patriot. Or like, insert your choice of modern rifle for around that $300 to $400 range. And, you know, you offer me one of those and I'm like, yeah, I mean, I've had those before. They're okay. They're all basically identical as far as I'm concerned. And then you offer me like a $300, $400 Mauser, and I'm like, oh, is that an 8mm? Oh, I'll take it. You know? Just because this is the type of rifle that I like. This rifle is, I mean, it's got the iron sights, it's got the wood, it's got the steel. I mean, yeah, there's wood and steel and iron sights and modern stuff, but this stuff has like the history behind it. I mean, the 8mm Mauser is a cartridge that came out in the late 1800s. Yeah, like for the Gewehr 88, granted it was made into a new version with a new bullet diameter in like 1906 or something like that. But anyway, the 8mm Mauser has a tremendous history behind it. That's why I like 8mm Mausers so much more than like other cartridges, or like 30-06 so much more than other cartridges, and I like the guns that shoot 30-06 so much more than other guns if they're from that historical standpoint. Like if you offered me a 1903 Springfield chambered in 30-06, and then you offered me like some cutting-edge hunting rifle that was probably, twice the value of that 1903, I'd take the 1903 any day of the week, and I get the feeling a lot of people here would as well. Or if you offered me a Mauser that was converted from like 8mm to 30-06 or something like that, then I'd be like, you know what, I'll go ahead and I'll take the Mauser over that other thing, just because this right here is more my style of rifle. And something like 30-06, with, my knowledge on it and whatnot, that is definitely more my style of cartridge, as opposed to something like 7 PRC. Like, the longest shot I've made is probably like 500 yards or so. Granted, I have tried touching out to further distances, but the longest shot I've made capably is out to like 500 yards or so. And 30-06 is more than capable at 500 yards. Like an 8mm Mauser, more than capable at 500 yards. The benefits of the cartridges that are coming out are just beyond my capabilities as a shooter. They're beyond my capacity to be able to shoot, since I only have a 100-yard range here. They're just they're trying to fix a problem that I don't have, and so as a result, I just simply don't keep up with those things. One thing I do keep up with is like defensive ammunition, and I will keep up with cutting-edge handgun technology and things like that. Like, for example, 30 Super Carry. I absolutely love that concept. Same amount of power downrange as 9mm, but with a much smaller diameter, so you got yourself more ammunition inside of your magazine. Things like that I do pay attention to, because that could legitimately impact what it is that I use for defensive purposes or shooting purposes, or if I want to just get something like that and show it off. And apparently 30 Super Carry, you can fire a 7.5 French long inside of it or something like that. Or, that's kind of where I'm coming from with that one. So if people ask me about the new cutting edge thing, and I'm just like, hey, I don't know. I haven't even looked into it, because instead of looking up 7 PRC. Instead of looking up 7 PRC, I'm like, well, I'm looking up what would happen if I were to load a 180 grain pill into an 8mm Mauser, and looking at the drop and whatnot with that thing. So I have my priorities. Or I'm looking up, the effectiveness of a 1 in 12 twist barrel on the M16 platform, and debating on whether or not I should get a 1 in 12 twist barrel for the channel, because that seems to do some really nasty stuff downrange. There's just these things that I'm debating on more than what I would be debating on otherwise, like just because of my personal preferences and what I enjoy. Like, for example, one thing I enjoy is 8mm Mauser. So I'm going to go ahead and send a couple of rounds of 8mm Mauser downrange. I got some surplus Turkish stuff. This is typically what I fire whenever I come out here. Surplus Turk stuff. This is 155 grain projectiles. They should be traveling at about 3,000 or so feet per second. And I got a grill out there that I'm just kind of laying waste to. I haven't shot it with 8mm Mauser yet, so we're going to go ahead and fix that right now. Well, it actually fired. I'm impressed. You know what? I know I got the grill there. Let's go. I got an old TV out there. I'm going to go ahead and shoot it. It's covered by weeds and whatnot. I doubt you guys can actually see it. Oh, never mind. I guess we're going to go ahead and not fire. Okay, well, that sat there long enough. Let's try that again. Nope, still no firing. Okay, well, I guess this one right here is just going to be a dud. Okay, cool. I'm going to stand here right here for a second, keep this downrange, just in case it does decide to go off. Sometimes these do have a pretty heavy hang fire. I think it's safe to say it's not going to go off. So I'm just going to open it up, eat that way. So if it does go off, it's over there. That's what you get for 100-year-old ammo. That one right there was a 1934 production. So, yeah, I'm sorry if I can't answer all of you guys' questions, but I'm just not really into modern day stuff. Like, for example, all the modern hunting rifles and whatnot that are coming out. Wow, my batteries really are dying. All the modern hunting rifles and whatnot that are coming out. yeah, I don't. I got no interest in those. If it's a polymer stocked rifle that doesn't have iron sights on it and that has no historical provenance behind it, then odds are I didn't do much research on it and I didn't really check it out. Now, maybe I'll start getting into the hunting rifle game just because there's so many cheap hunting rifles out there, chambered in so many different cartridges that people are just interested in. Like, I don't have a 6.5 Creedmoor myself. I have used them on the channel, but I could compare a 6.5 Creedmoor to like a 6.5 Jap and 6.5 Carcano, 6.5 Swede. And I feel like that'd be a lot of fun. Or I could get myself, just insert your choice of modern cartridge here that I couldn't get inside of a Milsurp rifle. I know I got a 270. I don't have a 243. That would be fun to have too. There's just certain things that I could get my hands on that would be fun, but it's not necessarily something I'd come out and I'd shoot regularly. Like my 270 in there, I've made a couple of videos on it, but for the most part it just sits in there because I absolutely wholeheartedly enjoy shooting my Mauser a lot more than I enjoy shooting that 270. And that's just because this is the kind of gun that I like. So, thanks for watching, folks. I like you guys too. You're the kind of audience I like. Like, subscribe, share, description below, link to all sorts of stuff. Go check it out. You guys go off, have yourself a fantastic day. I'll see you all in the next video. I'm going to go ahead and probably grab more ammo because I'm having myself a good time. I'll see y'all later. I'll figure out something to do.
Been a little while since I've done this. Bonnie and Clyde be damned. The poor man's Garrett. It's a shame that bolt-action shotguns aren't more mainstream.